Hello all, welcome to the Barbaric channel. I have something different prepared for today. There's no guitar today, okay, in this video, but don't switch just yet. There's more interesting stuff coming, okay. What I plan to do in the next couple of months is to build a hybrid pedal, a guitar effect. It will be analog effect, but it will be controlled by a digital circuitry. Cold digital brain with a warm analog heart, if you will. Okay. Why would I do this? Well, it sounds like a challenge, and to be honest, a fun thing to do. In reality, though, digital controls are great if you can use them. You know, analog pots, for example, use a whole lot of space. You know, and say, for example, in a small pedal like this, you know, how many can you fit? But if you had a digital pot, you could stick 4, 5, 10, and you can just, you know, control it with one single rotary encoder. So that would be a possible kind of a motivation for this. Now, with hybrid pedals, you know, we get control of the, you know, greater control of the pedal, but we'll still have this analog effect. And I have nothing against digital effects, and I think they're great. But you know, in case you prefer analog effects, this is a kind of a best of both worlds situation. And if I can pull this off, it will be great. Yeah. The plan is to implement engaging pedal on and off, use rotary encoder to control digital pots, add some fancy display, possibly add MIDI support, maybe more. You know, I'll record and document it all, and we'll see if I'll manage to do it. You can follow what I'm doing. You can just get into it once I'm done, if I succeed. And you know, anyway, for today, let me introduce the brain of this. Okay, this is Raspberry Pi Pico. This amazing little board kind of retails for something like $4. Okay, so it is really cheap. And let me see, Pi Pico. What we have there. So, as you can see, it has dual core ARM processor running at 133 megahertz. That is quite good for you know, something small like this and something cheap like that. There's loads of pins. There's loads of external peripherals that we can use. Anyway, you know, a few years ago you couldn't even imagine something like that for that kind of money. And the key here isn't that. The key is that there is a huge community behind this, you know. So there's lots of add-on boards that you can, you know, various things that you can purchase, and you know, you can have these development environments or, you know, development boards, breakout boards, if you will, that you can plug in things, you know, and you don't even need to solder anything. You plug in into the, for example, this breakout garden has 4 I2C and 2 SPI ports that you can easily use, you know. So that is just one of the reasons. And another reason is it is really simple to use, you know. So and you know, this is a bunch of things I got recently, just, you know, to try them out, you know, try out different things. I used a bigger brother before. This is a proper kind of a computer, if you will. You can plug in monitor there. You can plug in audio. You have all sorts of things on the bigger board. But this is really handy because you can actually control other stuff with it, like digipods, like controlling relays, etc. And look at this. You can even have it this small. Look at that. That can easily fit into a board like this, right? Into the pedal like this. Imagine what you can do with that. So, all that is interesting, but as they say, 1,000-mile journey starts with a single step, I suppose. So let me set up my environment here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use MicroPython as my development environment. This, supports MicroPython and supports C, C++ development. I just find it, MicroPython is it's actually a Python implementation for a very small like microcontrollers. So I'll be using a free IDE. I'll use Visual Studio Code. You can use there are other options, but this is what I'm familiar with. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to install Visual Studio Code. I'm going to go through that process and show you it's super simple how to set it up. Set up the Python environment, set up Pico, Raspberry Pi Pico environment, and then we're going to go from there. So let's do this real quick. Let's see how long it's going to take me to do this. It's running in background. Okay, this is going to install it in under my account. Yeah, this is all I need. I imagine I'll speed this up in when I stitch this together. It took less than a minute to install this. Let's see what next. When I start it, and my machine is positively dying because I'm recording at the same time on it, so it will survive. Okay. We're gonna use dark theme, huh? And this is great. It gives me all the steps I need to do to set this up. Okay, what does this even mean? Yeah, I'll skip this. I marked them all then. It doesn't matter. Okay. Let me install Python support. So I have nothing installed, so I'm just going to look. Oh, there it is, already there. But Python, Microsoft, their version. So I'm just going to install this, and it's really good because it gives you all the steps that you need to follow to actually do this, to set up your environment. And while it's installing, it is automatically installing Pylance and Jupyter. But we need Pylance. This is going to give us some linting functionality, I believe. It just helps us with, helps us with writing the code. So installed. Okay, install Python. Installed. Python is not installed. Install Python. Okay, So let's do that. And it's good, it gives me all the steps I need, but I could have done this just searching Python. Oh, finish already. Okay, I don't want this. Add Python, this is important, add a path, and then install now. Yay. And this is great, you don't even need admin rights for any of this, because it installs all of this into your under your personal account. Great, this is done. Now we are at 5-minute mark. It would have done it faster if I wasn't recording all of this in background. It's kind of using the disk as well. So what else do I need to install? So let me go back to Visual Studio Code. Okay, installed. I can select Python interpreter, and it's not here. I'm just guessing. Once I restart Visual Studio Code, it will work. So you can run and debug your Python file. Actually, let me just close it and restart it again. Let's see if this is going to work. Discovering Python. It did select one, so done that. And I'd say it's good to do this steps, because it gives you really good overview of what you do here in the environment. So if I can create a Python file, I'll do that later on. You can go and explore more resources, and yeah, you can search for that. So just mark this is done. We need another extension, and this is Pico-GO. And this is just to give us some help with uploading stuff to Pico, and provides us with IntelliSense support, auto completion, etc., etc. So it is kind of a very handy, and you need a way to kind of copy things onto the board and run your Python files. So let's do that. It's installing. Yay! So finally it installed. Now it's taking a bit longer, as I said, because of my I'm recording this in the background, so it is taking its time. So normally you can go, and again, as with everything else, you go and you scroll down, and it gives you some extra ideas. There's this quick start guide, and let's see this. Tells you the requirements, tells you what you need to install. There's a bunch of things that you can install, etc., etc. So there's one thing that it doesn't say right here, but it is in Raspberry Pi Pico documentation, is that you actually need to install firmware. So before you can use the Python, there is a firmware that helps you, that interprets that Python files, so, and allows you to access all the ports and etc., etc. We need to download MicroPython. So let me try to find it here. Okay, drag and drop MicroPython. How's that? You can program your. Okay, so all I need to do is download this file, here are instructions. You don't need me for anything really. You can see how this works. So here, and by the way, you can see all these steps on my website with all the links involved. I think just for reference, I'll keep a log of all I do for this project there. So what it says in order to program this so we can use Python is I need to hold this boot cell button and plug it in. Okay, before that I can't actually access I cannot use Python. So I'm holding it, plug it in. And you can see we have it here. I can look at index, but the thing is this you can't actually copy anything here. This is for programming it with this firmware. So I'm just going to drop it here. What's going to happen is it's going to get copied, and then the board will restart, and it will appear as my device, hopefully in Visual Studio Code. So let's see. Look at here. So what I have here is when Pico-GO is installed, it adds these options here where I can connect and disconnect from the board. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect to the board, and this should have connected now to the board. Let's see if it did. I'll do some Python coding. If I don't do hello world, it printed out hello world. I think there's some curse. If you don't do that as the first thing on your board will never work. So what we can do now, I can go and there's an interesting guide here. When you go quick start, now you can trust me that that piece of code worked on that board, or you can just we'll make LED flash. So there is a LED somewhere here. It's tiny. It says LED here. I don't know if, okay, it says LED here. So we're gonna turn it on. Okay, so I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna copy paste a few things from their quick start guide directly into this REPL window. Okay, close this. So this terminal directly executes this Python code on the board. So I'm just going to copy paste. I'm going to type it. Pin equals pin 25 pin out. Okay, so what this does is if I go and press F1 for some reason on my Visual Studio or of this Visual Studio Code, I can go and do Pico-GO, and gives me all the commands that I can see that Pico-GO offers. So I can even see here, there's a bunch of things, you can connect, disconnect from the board, you can delete files from the board, but let me see, I want to see pin map. So it gives me this handy map of all pins that are there. So here I have LEDs connected to pin, general pin 25 GPIO. So I did this, I created this pin here, referenced it, and I set it up to be output pin. So what I'm going to do, and look here, I'll just toggle this pin. Should turn on the, hey, what you know, it did work. So I'm actually running this on the board. So as I toggle it, it will get on and off. Let me turn it off. Okay, so let's create a quick project. I'm gonna just create an open folder. We're gonna do the same thing, you know, from okay, let me create a new folder. I'm gonna call it projects, doesn't matter. LED flash. So I'm just gonna select here. So it's like opening a project. But what I'm going to do is, yeah, I trust myself. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to configure this for Pico-GO. So what will that do? Pico configure. So Pico-GO configure project. So what this does, this prepares my project, gives me some recommendations what to install, but it also once it configures the project, I get a few different options here, but the main thing is I get help with code completion. So if I create a new file, I'm gonna call it ledflash.py, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to do what they did. This just flashes this LED every second. So let's import. Oh, it's from machine. Does it give me any options? Okay, maybe I don't have something installed. So let's see. Oh, IntelliCode. Maybe I need to install this. Okay, it's installing it. What does it say? This is should be cool. So it gives me this code completion, right? So it was really quick. So let's go back. Will this work? Okay, from there you go. So this is coming from the Pico-GO actually, because it provides us with stubs for Python, so it helps. From import pin, import time, nice. So what do we say? Pin equals and 5 pin out. Oh, you see that? Okay, so we are looping here while true, and keep in mind these microcontrollers are designed to work all the time. So there would be a program that would run in a loop constantly, either waiting for something to happen. Say maybe you have a button waiting, so when you press a button, something happens, or you wait for some, or you occasionally read temperature from a sensor, or in our case, what we are going to do is we're going to be having waiting for a button or for our knobs to be controlled through it. So while true, we'll go and we'll just do pin toggle. So it will, this toggle just means if the value is, if the pin is low, it will toggle to high value. If it is high, it will toggle, it will go low. That just means it will turn on and off the LED. So time, sleep, milliseconds, and 1000 milliseconds is a second. So I'm gonna save this. So Pico is disconnected. Let me connect it. It's connected, and I can just run, and expectation is this will blink. Yay! And I can just stop it now. So there it is. Now, thing is, if I unplug this, and I plug in a battery, it would be of very little use if you have to have it always connected, right? Whoop, and it's gone. Fell off the cliff. Yeah, this cable is too heavy for the board. The board is like just few grams or something. It's really okay. I'm struggling now. So the cable is twisty and it's messing up with my video now. Okay, so let me plug this in. You would expect that something will happen, but nothing happens because in order for this to work, you know, it would be of very little use if, imagine you have a project and it always needs to be configured, connected to a computer. That would be a bit useless. There are use cases, but some use cases, that's not just how it works, you know. If so what you need to do is you need to create, I can only plug in this into my computer, plugged in. So I have something heavy. Nice. One of the previous builds. It's useful. So let me connect again. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to rename this to main. Let me rename this. And main is actually what the board is going to execute. It tells it once you plug it in, you power it up, it executes main if it is on the board. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to upload this file. So this is handy. You can upload file, you can upload the whole project, and then you have all things loaded. But I'm just going to upload this file. See that? Okay. It's there. I'll keep my paperweight there. And you know what? Pedals are just an expensive paperweight unless they're plugged in, right? So for now, I'm going to use it here. So I'm going to plug in my battery. So here it is, my battery. Just try, so it's, I'm not cheating, and I plug it in. Voila, there it is. It's working. So this took me a long time to do. I thought I would, it would take me less time for this, but look, we have everything there. I started less than half an hour ago, so everything installed, everything done. We have our board working. So for next video, I'm just gonna do these, you know, some of these peripherals to give you an idea how to use something like this kind of a development breakout board, and what would actually take to implement a board yourself. So my goal is to kind of use this board. How do I use this board? How do I will have other peripherals on the board. So I'm going to design a board with other stuff on it. How do I use this? Well, we'll get a hint of that in the next video. Okay. Until next time.